Welcome to the Courtroom Theater, home of McKinney Repertory Theater. We are celebrating our 21st season, so thank you for being part of our growing family with this production of 12 Angry Jurors. In your program, you'll find a People's Choice ballot, an award for long after the applause has died away. Simply select your favorite actor in both the female and male roles and drop it in one of the red boxes as you exit. Votes will be tallied, and the winners will be announced at the MRT Awards reception at the end of the season. If you like, you can also enter a drawing for 2 free tickets to our next show by joining our email newsletter. Simply fill out the bottom section on the ballot. Ticket winners will be notified by email. We'd like to give our deepest thanks to our show sponsor, Independent Financial, as well as thank our season sponsors, the Susan K. Beers Realty Group, Azure Photography, and The Body Shop, along with all of our advertisers for their ongoing support of MRT. Please be sure to take advantage of their special offers, which can also be found in your program. If you do not plan to keep the program, please consider recycling them for the next show by dropping them in the program boxes by the doors as you exit. Restrooms are on either side of the theater in the hall on both levels. If you must exit the theater during the performance, please use the exits in the rear. Please refrain from any videography or flash photography during the show. And if you have a cell phone or other noise-making devices, please silence them now. It's okay, I'll wait. Thanks. If you haven't found them already, concessions will be available in the back of the theater during intermission. We'd like to thank Gallo Wineries and Tupps Brewery for their generous support of our theater and your enjoyment. Please be advised that this production is rated PG-13 and contains some mature content. Our next production is Deliver Us from Mama, a rip-roaring, hilarious, high-octane race to beat the stork on a family road trip. It's another Jones, Pope, Wooten comedy that will get your motors racing as it delivers miles of smiles and loads of laughs. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. Now, you have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try and separate the facts from the fantasy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The jury will retire.
Anybody want any drink up?
Thank you, but no.
Hey, you know something?
I know lots of things. I'm an advertiser.
You know, it's hot.
I never would have known that if she hadn't told me. You?
I suppose not. I kind of forgot.
All I've done all day is sweat.
Yeah, I bet you're on something like that kid was tried.
Yeah, you'd think they'd at least air condition the place. I almost dropped dead in court.
My taxes are high enough.
Yeah, well, this should go fast anyway.
Yes, it's hot.
All right, folks. Everyone's accounted for. Need anything? Be right outside the store. Stop.
Thank you.
Hey, good job.
Did he just lock that door?
Yes, you did.
What do they think we are, crooks?
Well, they locked us up for a little while.
And then they locked that kid up forever.
Right.
That's okay by me.
Never knew they did that.
Sure they locked the door. What did you think?
I don't know. It just never occurred to me.
Shall we all admit right now that it's hot, humid, and temperature's short?
Yeah, but it's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job could be gone, and the whole company too. There are nothing like this.
Well, they're going to start doing it.
I didn't reject to do it my duty. I just mentioned I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Ask him to hire you. He's rich. Look at that suit.
Oh, is it custom tailor?
Yes, it is.
You know, I have an uncle who's a tailor.
How does he do?
Not too well. You know, a friend of his. That's a friend of my uncle. Taylor. Well, this friend wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I'd have done anything to business.
Didn't get caught or something? You know what kind of a fine you get paid for anything like that? Well, anyway, this friend of my uncle's was on a jury once about 10 years ago, a case just about like this one.
So what happened?
They let him off. Reasonable doubt.
Oh.
And you know, about 8 years later, they found out that he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose in the streets.
Well, did they get him? They couldn't. Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't try man twice for the same crime.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen here.
6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I suppose they're entitled.
Everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. Well, I suppose you can't say anything against it.
Right. Hey, how'd you like that business about the knife? Did you ever hear a phonier story?
Well, look, you got to expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, he bought a switch knife. That knife.
And then he lost
Oh, a hole in his pocket.
the hole in his father.
And an awful way to kill your father, a knife in the chest.
Look at the kind of people they are. You know them.
Oh, what's the matter? You got a cold?
Yeah, Lord. One of these hot weather colds can kill you.
Yeah, I had one last year. Well, it was on vacation, too.
All right now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take seats.
Yes, this better go fast. I have tickets for West Side Story tonight. I must be the only gal in the whole world who hasn't seen it yet. All right, Your Honor, start the
It's
show.
overrated.
How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window? How about sitting down?
What? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father. Bing! Just like that. Well, it's the elephant. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it served them right.
There are better proofs than some emotion you may have, for instance, dislike of some group.
Well, we all agreed that it was hot.
And that our tempers would get short.
That's if we disagree, but this is open and shut. Let's get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
All right now, you ladies and gentlemen, well, you can do this any way you want to. I'm not going to make any rules. If we want to discuss it first and then vote, that's one way.
Let's vote and go home.
Yeah.
Or we could vote right now and see how we stand.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it all
All
over.
right? But anybody doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
Fine. All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 11.
What?
Okay, that's 11 for guilty. Okay, not guilty.
Oh!
Hey,
Oh,
good feel.
That's 11 to 1. 11
Boy,
guilty,
boy.
1 not guilty.
There's always one.
Well, where we stand.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. ABC.
I don't believe it's simple as ABC.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
Yeah.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he's guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. The man's a dangerous killer. You can see it.
Where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Well,
I'd like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't.
What is there about the case that makes you think the boy's innocent?
He was 19 years old.
that's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches
was guilty. I think we should try to avoid emotion-colored arguments.
All right, look, they proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Well, do you believe that stupid story he told?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So what'd you vote not guilty?
Well, there were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy for me to send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it was easy for me?
Or me.
No one?
He's still just as guilty, whether it's
Exactly.
easy or not.
You know.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
I think the guy's guilty. If you couldn't change my mind, talk for 100 years.
I'm not trying to change your mind. Just what are you thinking of? I want to talk for a while. Look, this kid's been kicked around all his life. Living in a slum, his mother dead since he was 9 years old. It's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. And you know why slum kids get that way? It's because we knock them over the head once a day, every day. And I just think we owe him a few words, that's all.
All right. It's hard. Sure. It is hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for. I worked my way through college. There's a long time ago, perhaps you forget. I fought. Yes, but I never killed.
Yeah, I know what it's like, and I never killed anybody.
Yeah, I've been kicked around too. Wait till you work in an ad agency and the big boy who buys the advertising walks in. We all know.
Back in my country, in Europe, kicking was a science, but let's try to find something better than that.
I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't know the killer thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he?
He did.
You know what that trial cost? Lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown up here. Not going to tell us we're supposed to believe him, knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. Can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for men to believe. Since when is dishonesty a good characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right, this isn't Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man says is very dangerous.
I don't see a need for arguing like this.
I think we ought to be able to behave like ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Oh, all right. If you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
If we're going to discuss the case, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good idea. We have a job to do, let's do it.
Before we get started, if nobody minds, I'm going to close the window. It's blowing on my
Oh,
neck.
and if you don't mind, I'd like to have the window open.
It's blowing on me.
It's summer. Don't you want a little air? It's hot.
It was very uncomfortable.
Listen, there are 12 of us in this room. That's the only window, if you don't mind.
I have some rights too, you know.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs and someone at the other end of the table?
All right. If someone is willing to trade seats, I will leave the window.
Take my chair.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, shall we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's.
I may have an idea here. I may be just thinking out loud, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. Maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, try it on for size.
Yeah, sounds fair. All right, suppose we go once around the table.
Yes, let's start it off.
Right. Oh, we'll start with you.
Oh, well, I just think he's guilty. Now, I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
Well, I mean that nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof rests with the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution. It's the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Well, sure I have. I know what it is. Well, what I meant was, well, anyway, I just think he's guilty.
Right. No reason. Just guilty. There's a life at stake. Okay, let's get to the facts. Number one, let's start with the old man who lived on the second floor right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after the trial of the night of the killing, he heard
A second later, he heard a body falling and he ran to the door of his apartment, looked out and saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. Then he called the police. They found the father with the knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right, now what else do you want?
Something doesn't fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he's at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
That's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
Oh, and he didn't have a ticket stub.
Who keeps ticket stubs to the movies?
That's true enough.
I suppose, but I mean the cashier didn't remember it.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Look, what about the woman across the street? Her testimony don't prove it to nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
All right, let's go in order.
Just a moment. Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know.
Right.
Anyway, she wakes up, looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his coffin.
How could she be sure it was the kid when she looked through the windows of a passing elevated train?
Oh, she's known the kid all his life. His window is right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night, see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
They did.
Weren't you telling us just a minute or two ago that you couldn't trust them? That you couldn't believe them?
So,
Let me ask you something. What made you believe her? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
you're a pretty smart fellow, aren't you?
Now, take it easy.
Come on, sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, they did take us out to the woman's room. We looked through the windows of a passing L train, didn't we?
Yes, they did.
And were you able to see what happened on the other side?
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but I did see what happened on the other
You
side.
see,
Let's calm down now.
All right. Oh, it's your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. Oh, how about you?
Oh, I don't know. I started to be convinced, you know, with the testimony from the people that live, oh yes, they lived across the hall. Didn't they say something about the boy and his father having an argument that night around 7 o'clock, I think? I could be wrong.
I believe it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
Yes, it was 8 o'clock.
And they heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right, right.
What does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just another piece of the picture. I never said it proved anything.
Anything else?
No. I don't know. Most of it's been said already. I mean, we can talk all day about this, but I think we're wasting our time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
All right, let's look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He was arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm.
They did. He stabbed someone.
He was picked up for knife fighting, and at 15, he was in reform school.
And they sent him to reform school for stabbing someone.
Right. Yes. Oh, this is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
So would I on a kid like that.
You're right. It's the kids nowadays. It's the way they are. You know, they don't listen.
No.
I got a boy. When he was 8 years old, I caught him with some of the neighborhood gang fighting and out in the street. After all I said about staying away from those clubs, he goes out and joins them. I gave him a whipping that he would never forget. And you know what? When he was 15, he hit me, a woman, his own mother, in the face. He's big, you know. Haven't seen him in 3 years. I don't know. Maybe I'm better off. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and
missing the point here. This boy, let's say he is the product of a filthy neighborhood, broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals.
Oi!
They are. I know it, so do you. The children who come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
There. I don't want any part of it, believe me.
I've lived in a slum my whole life.
Now, wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells out.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on now, he didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Who did he mean? I can understand the sensitivity.
Now let's stop the bickering.
We're wasting time.
All right, it's your turn.
All right? I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. There were too many questions left unasked.
Well, it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kid. Still, I agree with you. The defense counsel was bad.
So, this is a point. What about facts?
Yes.
There were too many questions unanswered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. You know, the one that Clyde Upright Kid admitted buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again. Mr. Foreman?
You know, we all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
Everyone has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay with me.
Now, this knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence. Don't you agree?
I do.
Now, let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits to going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched, went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees that it's an unusual knife. I mean, it's pretty hard to forget something like that.
I've never seen one like it. The storekeeper identified the knife, said it was the only one of its kind that he had in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend of his.
So hard. All right, so far.
Right.
But next, the boy claimed that on his way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, that he never saw it again. Now there's a story, ladies and gentlemen. You know it actually happened. The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later, stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Yeah. Thank you. Now, everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that somebody picked it up off the street, took it up to the boy's home, and stabbed his father with it, just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying it's possible that the boy did lose a knife and someone else stabbed the father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Be serious. This is what's going on. Now, take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither did the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Now, are you trying to make us accept a pretty unbelievable coincidence?
Not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible. What are you trying to do? What is it?
What is this? Who do you think you are?
All right, quiet. Let's be quiet.
Oh, where did you get that?
I got it from a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied, and you know it.
Maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife. And maybe he did go to the movies. And maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he snuck into the movies. And maybe he was too ashamed to say so. Is there anybody here who didn't sneak into movies once or twice when they were younger?
I didn't. Oh, really? Not even once.
We didn't have.
So maybe he did go to the movies, and maybe he didn't. He may have lied. Do you think he lied?
Now that's a stupid question. Sure he lied.
Do you?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
You think he lied?
I don't know.
Now wait a second. you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty, sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Oh, now come on.
Yes, that's true.
All right, I think we ought to get on with it now.
Right,
Yes.
let's get going here.
How do you like this guy?
Well, what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't believe the boy's guilty.
I don't know. I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. Now, this young man, he heard it. He heard the kid shriek it out.
The woman across the L track, she saw it.
Right.
He bought a switch knife that night, and we don't know where he really was.
Right.
Until we were
And earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
Yeah.
He was a violent kid all the way. Well, that doesn't prove anything.
Still, you know.
All right, I have a proposition. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 ladies and gentlemen to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take a guilty verdict in right now.
All right, is everyone agreed?
I certainly am.
All right. Write down your votes. Pass it down.
All right. He's guilty with a capital G. This is supposed to be secretly guilty with a capital G. Pass it down.
You know, I will say despite his
Everybody. All right. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Right. Guilty. Not guilty. What the? Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
All right, who did it? What idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are we talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know who.
So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret vote.
No one looked while we did it, but now I want to know.
Secret vote. We agreed on that point, no? If the lady or gentleman wishes for it to remain
What
a
do you
secret-
mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty, and then this slick creature starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote? If that isn't the most
Now,
sickening...
hold it.
I agree with you the man's guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it. Be fair. That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden, we're talking about fairy
Now,
tales.
wait a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Well, let's try to keep this organized, ladies,
Well,
gentlemen.
it isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please! There is something I wish to say here. I have always thought that in this country a person was entitled to have unpopular opinions. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually, I do. In this one situation, however, I agree with you, but that is not the point I wish to make. In my own, I am ashamed to say that
Oh,
I...
now when we have to listen to the whole history of your country.
Well, it's always wise to bear in mind what's happened in other countries where people are not allowed to disagree. But we are. So let's stick to the subject.
Yes, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
Yeah, I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
What makes you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
Well, that's fine. If the speech is over, let's go on.
Look, now that we've kind of cooled off, I was a little excited a minute ago. Well, you know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Okay.
Supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
Yeah. As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with other people's motives here.
I suppose. But who else had a motive?
Well, the kid's father was along in years, perhaps an old grudge.
Oh, that's a
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling. What are we going to do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
Yeah.
Boy, you said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling, and he saw the boy running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Right, where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right, and let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked through the open window and saw the boy stab his father.
Now, if that's not enough for you,
Not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like the guy? He's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. But she remembers the most insignificant details.
well, what have you got to say about that?
I don't know. It just doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. We might as well pass the time.
You know, I read in the paper that nowadays.
This is not a game.
Now, wait a minute.
This is a man's life.
Who do you think you
All
are?
right, now calm down.
I've got a good mind to walk around this table and slap him.
Now, please, I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see him? The nerve.
Oh.
Absolute nerve.
All right, forget it. It don't mean anything.
How about everybody just sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Nerve.
Where are we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So,
All right. How long does it take an elevator train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what's that got to do with anything?
I don't know. How long would it take? Yes.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think?
12 seconds, maybe?
I'd say that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
I'd say about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. Elevated trains take 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window in which the killing took place. Now, you can almost reach out of the window and touch the L train, right?
That's right, I tried it.
So, all right, well, let me ask you this. Has anybody ever lived right next to the L tracks?
Oh, I live close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right next to the L tracks. And when the window is open and the train is rushing by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get the point.
The old man who lived downstairs heard the voice say.
He didn't say it. He screamed it.
The old man heard the voice scream, "I'm going to kill you," and then 1 second later he heard the body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
Right.
And the woman across the street said she looked through the windows of the last 2 cars and saw the body fall, right?
Right?
So,
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars!
What are you giving us here?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That's 2 seconds per car. The train had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to heard the voice say, "I'm going to kill you," as the train is rushing past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure he could have heard it.
Was an L train going by?
He said the boy yelled it out.
He didn't make a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it. Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L
What are you
noise.
people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
I mean, it stands to reason.
Look, maybe you're calling him a liar.
What's he got to gain from
What's he got to gain from that?
Attention. I mean,
You know, you keep coming up with these bright stories. Why don't you send one into a newspaper? They pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man comply? You have a right to be heard.
thank you.
Well,
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone else here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all his life, who's never had recognition, his name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized and to be questioned and listened to and quoted just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe that he heard those words and he recognized the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe that he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
I am that same person.
I think we all understand now. Thank you.
You know, if you want to admit that you're a liar, it's all right by me.
now that is too much.
She's a liar. She just told us so.
She didn't say she was a liar, she was explaining.
Didn't you admit that you're a liar?
Please, she was explaining the circumstances so we can understand why the old man might have lied. There is a difference.
A liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. We have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
All right. Is there anything else?
Contract?
Building.
Anybody want to talk? Drop?
Let's get on with it now.
Yes.
I'll take one thing. Now, there's something else I'd like to point out here. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the voice say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him through anyway.
All right, but supposing that the old man did hear the voice say, "I'm going to kill you." That phrase, how many times have each of us used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that one more time, Junior, I'll murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him! We use it every day, but that doesn't mean we actually want to kill someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more, the phrase was, "I'm going to kill you," and the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Now, don't try and tell me that he didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Do you really think the boy would shout out something like that so the whole neighborhood would hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common, ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
The boy's clever enough.
I want to change my vote to not guilty.
Wow. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilt.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
Well, I think there's doubt.
Where? What is the doubt?
It's the knife.
Oh, fine.
He talked to you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on, give us your reasons.
And there's the old man too. You know, okay, maybe the old man didn't lie, but maybe he did. Maybe the old man doesn't like the kids.
Oh, that is just see.
I believe that there's reasonable doubt.
Based on what? Stories this guy made up?
said, but I don't see how the old man could run.
No, he said he went. I remember it now. He went from the bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was the bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall. Are we to send a man off to die because it was down the hall somewhere?
I thought you remembered everything. You remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember that either.
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to look at the diagram of the apartment.
Oh.
Hey, why don't we just have them run the trial over again for you so you can get everything straight?
Yeah, might
The
as well.
bedroom was down the hall somewhere. Do you know? Do you know exactly where it is? Please, a man's life is at stake. Do you know?
Well,
Mr. Foreman?
I heard you.
All right, what's this one for? How come you're the only one in the room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
yeah,
Hey, I want to see this one too.
So do I.
And I want to stop wasting time.
right.
Are we gonna start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No, we're not. We're going to try to find out who a man who's had 2 strokes in the last 3 years, who walks with a pair of canes, can get to the door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of thing.
He said 15. He was very positive
He's
about
an
it.
old man. You saw that. Half the time he was confused. How can he be positive about anything? Well, you know.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know.
What you're looking for?
Oh, that's right.
You need a hand?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you. Good job. You want this?
Yes, please.
Do me a favor, wake me up when this is over.
You know, I looked at that diagram. Chill out. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. This is the diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. The old Bent apartment is directly beneath it and is exactly the same. Let me refresh everybody's memory. Here are the L tracks. Here's the bedroom, another bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, the kitchen. Here's the hallway. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, the old man was in the bed in this room. So he got up, went out in the hall, went down the hall to the front door, opened the front door, just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
Story.
That's what happened.
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
All right.
All right, now, the bed is against the window. It's 12 feet from the bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. The old man would have to get up out of his bed, get his cane, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think that that's possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
I mean, he would have been in a hurry. He did hear the scream.
Yes,
He
yes.
can only move so fast. They had to help him into the witness
You
stand.
make it sound like a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses canes, it's a long walk.
What are you doing?
I want to try this thing. I want to see how long it took him. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, which is the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like
Oh,
that.
please! If we could just see it. This is an important point.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
I don't see any harm in it. It's foolish, but go ahead.
All right, this is the door to the bedroom. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I'd say it was 20 feet.
Just about.
Okay, 20 feet sounds about right. Okay, so from here to the door and back is 40 feet, which is less than the length of the hall the old man had to move through. Would you say that?
A few feet maybe.
Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
Well, we can't stop him.
You mind if I try it? According to you, it should only take 15 seconds. I think we can spare that. Does anybody have a watch in the second hand?
I have.
Great. Okay, now stomp your foot when he wants me to start. That'll lead the body forward.
Okay, we'll time you from there.
Okay. Let's say he keeps his canes right next to his bedside, right?
Right?
I'm ready.
I'm waiting for the hand to get to 60.
Okay, he's getting out of the bed. He's getting his cane. Walking across the bedroom.
Speed it up. He walked twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even faster than the old man walked in court.
No, it isn't.
Open the bedroom door. Okay, if you want me to go a little faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
Okay, he's halfway down the hall. Okay, he's at the front door. Opening the front door and looking out. Stop!
Right.
What's the time?
15, 20, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
39 seconds. 39 seconds. 39.
The old cripple swore his oath that it was 15.
He may have been a little off on the speed that the old man walked at, but 24 seconds off. Well,
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for quite a difference in speed between the old man and you, but there's still quite
Quite a
a...
discrepancy.
Yeah. It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the door and heard somebody racing down the stairs and assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed? Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day. But this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell it. You come in here with your heart full of talking about some kids and making up these wild stories, and you've got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting real sick of you. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
Oh, I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up!
You're a sadist.
Shut up!
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up!